back to the channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and this is my 2022 Manly Warringah Seagulls season review. Very, very disappointing season, I must say. But despite how bad and how terrible this season was for Manly, I'm very keen to sort of digest the season it was and go through my thoughts on where we did struggle and where we did sort of let ourselves down, during the season, and what I do wish for 2023, coming into that season. So it's going to be a 30-minute review like you've seen from the thumbnail. If you did press on the video, it does say a 30-minute review. So look, I don't expect everyone to sit through and listen to a 16-year-old go through, the season it was and how bad it was. I don't expect everyone to do that, and that's fine, because I'm obviously not going to sit here and go, oh, you all must watch the review. You all must, sit here and look at my thoughts on the season. No, I don't expect that at all, because I'm young and not everyone's going to believe that I can go through or talk about the season it was. But, obviously I'm very passionate about the Manly club, because obviously a club I love. It's a club I love to succeed in the near future. And yeah, no, look, I'm just going to go through the things that I think need to change, what needs to happen, where we were disappointing, where we were terrible, and all that. So that's pretty much what it's going to be about, really, the review here. But yeah, look, if you want to watch the full review for 30 minutes, then yeah, be free to, get a drink, get a snack, why not? Because it's 30 minutes, so obviously a long time. But I'm doing it because I love the club, and I do want to sort of go into depth about what I think about this season. But before I start, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. At 2,330 subscribers, so a goal for me would be to get to the 2,350 mark by early next week. So if I can get there by early next week, then the goal's been passed, obviously. And of course, make sure you like the video and comment your thoughts on my review if you end up watching the whole thing after all. But yeah, look, obviously this is Pro Enzo Vids' 2022 Manly Warringah Seagulls review. Sit back and enjoy, and yeah, time to get into it. Okay, where it went wrong, eh? Where did it all go wrong? Well, there's plenty of ways you can sort of start this off. You can say that it's been the way we've sort of backed up a good season from 2021 into 2022, which hasn't really gone well, hasn't really been backed up pretty well. So you can definitely say that. That's where you can start from. You could say it's down to the players and their consistency. After a breakout year in 2021, not all the players are backed up, and not all of them have shown the same sort of guts and attitude that they did in the last year in 2021 compared to this year. Or you can say that without Tom, the whole team is pretty much mediocre, and they don't really seem to compete as to a standard where you should be in first grade, But I'm going to say it's just from the final series last year, I know people are going to say, why would you go back to last year when it's this year's review? Well, the reason why I'm doing that is because I feel like from the final series last year, I could tell there was a bit of a decline coming down, I felt like we had the great regular season in 2021. It was just that in finals time, I thought we got a bit exposed, and our tactics and that got a bit sort of exposed by the better clubs. Like, obviously week 1 we got smashed by Melbourne, 40-6 in the Sunshine Coast there. Obviously Tom was shut down, and the rest of the team couldn't sort of replicate or bring up that good form that we know they had last year. I also thought that it's down to probably just, I guess, a confidence thing. Obviously, sort of, look, I don't want to say it, but I probably will, just for why I'm saying, we'll give you an example of what I mean by players losing confidence. Well, I thought last year in the final series in week 1, where Morgan Harper got destroyed by Justin Oldham, that was probably where, that as an example probably lessened players' confidence after the final series, So I just feel like some players that came to a bigger stage in finals, sort of struggled and didn't back up what they could have done in the regular season. But that does not go to say I hate them, though, because I do respect all the Manly players. I love them all appreciate it. All appreciate the players that wear the maroon and white at the end of the day. So look, I just feel like it's a confidence and consistent thing as well, But yeah, look, heading to this year, obviously a great year in 2021, and obviously a disappointing final series, but that disappointing final series sort of form carried into rounds 1 and 2, and sort of round 3, because we only beat Bulldogs by 1 point at Brookie, and that was our first home game of the year. So that obviously was a bit disappointing. But I guess as well, the first 2 games to start the season, Roosters in round 2 and Panthers in round 1, is obviously a very tough start to the season, especially when you're playing Penrith at Bluebet in Penrith, and you're playing Roosters at the SCG. Tough games, but at the same time, I thought we were a bit disappointing in terms of how we attacked, because I thought that, we would adapt to playing better against the bigger sides this year, a bit more of a top-class sort of team that would, compete at least and go really well. But we seem to not have that sort of attitude, or that sort of just that team in general, or players in general, to sort of compete with the big teams. Like I keep saying week one, but in round one against Penrith for 2022 this year, obviously full strength apart from Schuster and Aloye that week. And obviously I was confident about that game. I thought we could get the win there. I thought we could really come out firing, because there was only Nathan Cleary, as well remember. There was Sean O'Sullivan, who was their starting halfback, and I thought that this is where Foz and DC would stand up and lead us to victory, and so was Tom. But Penrith were just a bit too good, They defended their guts off, and they knew how to win the game. And that's where I thought Manly would definitely improve this year, is finding that attitude to defend and win games, and find that sort of guts to hang in games like that. But obviously Manly don't have that class yet, and I hope they can develop into the off-season for this year. But a lot of work has to go into that if we're going to get anywhere near that stage. But it's definitely not impossible, because look at the Cowboys, They were obviously a bottom 4 team in 2021, but they sort of got the guts and sort of just worked hard for each other, not working half. They're not working half for just one player, they're working half for everyone, That's why I think that we need to sort of work hard as a team and trust each other, not just rely on Tom to do everything, and sort of lay a platform for those players to sort of go up and do what they should do, So it's a bit of a work together thing I think we need to do in the off season, and sort of make sure that our heart's in the job. Put it that way, heart's in the job. But yeah, look, obviously round 1, round 2 was disappointing, because obviously Tom was shut down, and obviously without Tom we sort of looked different in attack. It was like we didn't have any attack. It was like the Bulldogs 2017 attack we had, So it was obviously a bit disappointing. We had that good stage where we beat teams without Tom. Like obviously Garrick did a great job filling at fullback, and sort of just being consistent and trying to be as good as he was like Turbo. But obviously Garrick's never going to be like a Turbo type fullback, but definitely did a well enough job to sort of stand up and take us to many wins at fullback. But yeah, never a class like Tom though. But yeah, look, in general, I'd say it's just a consistency thing. Maybe just that we don't play a well enough structure around Tom. Maybe the way Des coaches, he structures the team all around one player, and sort of wants the attack to flow off Tom onto the other players. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's definitely a structural thing, and it's definitely a confidence thing amongst the players as well, that they do want to trust each other and want to work hard or not. So definitely around those sort of things, I think, around that. So if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's pretty much where I think it went wrong, was around the confidence and around the structural sort of things. And without Tom, there's no real platform to really go ahead and do their jobs. So that's what I think. Now, onto a very interesting one about what needs to change, in my opinion. So around the club, what things might need to be moved on, or what things might need to put in place to make it, in order to make a good change. Just sort of around that sort of term. So obviously, Des has been under a lot of pressure this year because of our season, and obviously it's not all for him to blame. It's the players as well that haven't been able to, I guess, replicate the good form and bring up the good form recently, But yeah, look, obviously I've been a little bit critical of Des, obviously, because I did expect him to still bring out the best in the team despite the whole jersey, drama and all that. And I thought that he'd still would get us some wins at least, and do the right selections in order to make us get some wins towards the end of the season. But obviously, since the Jersey Gate drama, or the Jersey, Jersey drama in general, obviously that hasn't helped us a whole lot, and we've lost 7 games in a row since that. So obviously that was the way we closed out our season. So look, obviously I said at times I may not want Des at the club anymore, only because I feel like that he won't lead us to another comp and won't take us to anywhere higher than I guess a prelim or a semi-final, But I've just said at the heat of the moment, It's pretty much the heat of the moment sort of stuff, Because obviously I've been pretty angry after games, and obviously that's just me, because that just shows I'm passionate. But obviously that anger needs to sort of be lessened a bit, so I can make sense and sort of speak well. But I can't help it sometimes, because that's just how I feel at the club when we have a bad loss, and where someone may not be doing the wrong thing and whatever. So yeah, look, I still back Des, Obviously, I back Des, and obviously he's going to stay with us for another season. Don't know if he'll stay above or beyond this year or next year, but either way, I think he's the guy to get us out of trouble, and I think he will help us get a successful season in place for 2023, hopefully. So I do back Des, but obviously he should be given a couple of weeks because I feel like if Manly are struggling at the first 6 weeks of the season, so I'll give Des the first 6 rounds of the season to sort of get this team going and make them look successful. And I guess if we're struggling like we were this year, towards the back end of this year, then I think it's time for him to go. But I am confident that he will get the best out of us. I am confident that he will eventually get the boys up and going. He'll eventually, get the guys like get Turbo and pretty much get up and going, and hopefully Turbo has an injury-free season so that can help as well. I think he'll get Schuster very fit and going, because I've always rated Schuster and I love Schuster as a player. So I feel like Des will have a lot of input into seeing how good he'll go, Schuster. And I feel like, he'll help a lot of our guys out. Like, obviously, he'll get Kohler ready for his second season in the NRL, Tui Pelotu. I guess just the worry is that he doesn't really like to use rookies too much. Like, he doesn't like to bring up rookies too much. That's the issue for me. But I guess that's how he's always been, Even when Manly won the comp 2008 and 2011, I can always remember Des sort of just using players that he thinks are worth giving a go. And he doesn't like going out of the box and using rookies, like some clubs like Penrith do, Melbourne, I don't think he likes doing that too much, because obviously that's a lot of pressure on a rookie to come in and then sort of solve some issues out in a team when it's struggling. So that's smart, but I just feel like he needs that idea that today is a young man's game. That's the modern game today. It's a young man's game. It's full of rookies now, and I feel like that maybe that's where the assistants Michael Monaghan and Chad Randall sort of failed to fire, and sort of failed to, I guess, make an input and question Des about, some of the selections he's making, because I feel like that, Chad Randall and Michael Monaghan obviously both play for Manly and obviously have a lot of Manly DNA in them, but they're both going to move on at the end of the season from what I know. I know that Chad Randall's definitely going to the Bulldogs, because he did confirm that. But for Michael Monaghan, I'm not sure where he's going, but I do know that they're both leaving. And look, in a way, that's probably a good thing, only because we might need some better people around the club to help Des out and help the team out, I guess, with new ideas potentially, because we've had the same ideas, same routine structures for the last couple of years now. So I feel like maybe making a change will be good. But I just don't know who we'll bring in, though. That's the only question, Maybe we'll bring in a successor after Des, potentially. That's what I've heard, but I'm not sure what we'll do there. But I do believe we need some new ideas amongst the club, and we do need someone to hopefully have a new mindset in the modern game, because I like Des, and I think Des is a club legend, but I think he struggles to understand the modern game today and how and what players that needs to be playing. So I just think he doesn't get the modern game sometimes. That's my own personal worry, but I could be wrong in saying that. But I think it would help if we got someone around the club, like a new and experienced assistant coaches and something like that put into place. I feel like that's probably where I'd like to see us just involve and strengthen that area. More support around Des, and I guess just I'll touch on this more a bit later. But guys like Scott Penn, the chairman and the owner of Manly, and Tony Mestroff, look, obviously that them two have got a lot of things to work on, but I think that with Mestroff coming in, I'm pretty confident he'll do a good job, because I've seen him spec some interviews already, and I'm pretty confident that he will deliver the best for Manly, and I am confident that he will do a good job from seeing some interviews of him and how he speaks, that he's definitely not someone that will leave any stone unturned. He's definitely going to turn up and do a job, and I think I'm excited for him to come in and do a job for us. Hopefully he's not one of those CEOs that gets sacked in the first 2 years, because we've already had that issue of many CEOs walking out or getting sacked by us. So we need to stick with him, and hopefully he does a job for us and makes the right calls. As for Scott Penn, obviously Scott Penn's the owner of Manly, and obviously a lot of people have criticised him, and I don't blame them for doing that. Look, Scott Penn's always been a great chairman for us. I think he's done a great job in terms of bringing this club up and doing what's best, and he's done a great job for the last decade or so, I think. But it is getting a bit harder with him living in the USA and having to work with Manly as well. It's just a bit hard. I think we need someone that has the heart in the job, if you know what I mean. So I feel like that he's heart maybe in the job after all. I might be wrong. I don't know Scott Penn personally, but I guess it's always a bit hard when you're working in a different country in your club that is in another different country as well. So I just don't know how he works around that, but he seems to somehow be doing it. So I guess that's good for him, I suppose. But yeah, I guess things need to be looked around there as well. I personally believe. Right, now this is about our recruitment and about like what players we should be retaining and recruiting, etc. And obviously, I've got a bit of an opinion on this, and it's obviously something I want to do touch because, obviously, Manly haven't been able to recruit the best in the past couple of years. Like, we haven't been able to recruit as many signings as we probably wish or probably would need in order to get some depth and the right players in the team and the club. So I think that we do need to look at our recruitment the past couple of years. Like, obviously, last year we signed one player only, and that was Ethan Bullimore from the Broncos, who's not a bad player, obviously, but again, we didn't utilise him properly. We played him in the back row when he's not a back rower. He's a front rower, dead set front rower, and he would be killing it right now if if he wasn't playing in the back row all the time, because that's like his position. I think he's a dead set prop who has a good leg speed and should be playing in the middle. But yeah, no, look, just in general, our recruitment has been the best most recently. Like, I feel like that we need to expand our outlook on where we should be recruiting players from, etc. Not always upgrading players, not always retaining like, obviously re-signing and retaining players is good through like the juniors and the reserve grade stuff like that. But we need to look out, to some places and sign players. Like, I feel like looking at overseas, like in England, there's a lot of great talent over there. Go and look at some of the best young prodigies there, or young best upcomers over there, or some talented, well-known English players over there. I feel like we need to have some idea and look over there, because we do need to sort of expand or build a better team. I feel like in some ways, like, we need some better players amongst the team. Now, the Manly team isn't bad. I feel like the 1-17 is pretty good. I'm picturing it right now, and I feel like the team we have, is most likely to be named for next year is good. But I would love if we can get like a big name, another big name front rower. I think we're definitely lacking a good front rower, like a big name front rower. So I feel like we need to sign someone with a bit of experience, sign someone that has a bit of bit of class and a bit of ratings around that player. But I don't think we're that club that will do that, unfortunately. We're not going to recruit like a Matt Lloyd or David Clemmer or anyone like that. Unfortunately, we're not that sort of club that would hold discussions with them. Spencer Lanu from the Panthers could be really good, since he's apparently been talking about him being squeezed out because of salary cap and stuff like that. But again, Manly aren't that club that would do that. And unfortunately, our salary cap is a real issue that's sort of hurting us from signing good players and building a roster around these sort of players in the end. Because our cap's tied to three main players, Sherry Evans and Trbojevic brothers. But you see teams like Roosters and all that signing Brandon Smith, and they probably have guys like Tedesco, Kiri, Tupou, Manu, all type of big money. So I don't know what prevents us from doing that as well. But yeah, look, I don't know. I feel like our recruitment team, whoever it is, it's like, I think it's Scott Fulton that works in there, Noel Khalil. I don't know if Khalil's staying with us. I heard a rumour he might be retiring, but if he is staying, then yeah, I do back him still, but he needs to understand, we need to have a look out, sort of outlooks to other places where we need to find and get the best players possible, because I feel like that our recruitment the past couple of years, since 2020 at least, has been a little bit disappointing. Haven't recruited the right players, or haven't recruited enough, and we only signed one player heading into 2022, and that was not good enough in my opinion. Only Bullimore, and Bullimore didn't play more than 15 games this year, I don't think. So how's that for our main recruitment? So and we've only signed Kelvin Tuilagi from the Tigers, who's a good player. I like Tuilagi. I think he's gonna kill it for us, but again, I don't think that he's enough. We need more players, and I heard a rumor we might be signing Ben Condon from the Cowboys. But yeah, I feel like we need that big like that big signing. We need like a player that's won premierships at other clubs, who's representing the country. We just need a big signing. I wouldn't mind Nathan Brown, to be honest. I mean, I obviously have not backed him before as a signing or player, but I feel like that his class and his experience would be good for us, because I feel like you add another dimension to our forward pack, and I feel like you would add something. Guys like Clemmer, Lodge, Lanu, Brown. I feel like all of them would do something for us, and I feel like that's what we need, especially with Tapau leaving, who has a lot of experience, and he's leaving the pack. I don't think a forward pack of Paseka, Kepi, Sipley, and Eloy is enough. We need someone else who has a bit of a class, because I feel like that, not to be rude, but I feel like Kepi, Sipley, Paseka in particular have started to fire recently, and I feel like we need, and they're none of them are really starting front rows in my opinion. I mean, maybe Paseka, but I feel like we need a proper starting front row around Eloy. So that's what I would probably wish for. But either way, I don't know. We'll see how our recruitment team goes, I suppose. But I love us to sign a big name big name signing. That's just me anyway. Our attention's a bit disappointing, I thought, by losing Davey, but Dave's getting old anyway, so it's fair enough in the end. Who else? We've also lost Walker. Now, I would love to keep Walker, but Walker chased the money to go to the Warriors, which is fair enough. I guess that's good for his young family, but yeah, look, I just feel like we could be doing a lot better around the recruitment and retention sort of area. That's just me anyway, but yeah, that's what I think we need to improve on, is our recruitment and retention. Now, without sounding too political or too controversial, obviously this is something that I probably need to add in the review, if anything, to go off by our season, and that is the Pride jersey. So basically the inclusiveness jersey and the Pride jersey, I guess you can sort of, or however you want to sort of put it as, but that one jersey and one design did cost our season. That ruined our season, that ruined our momentum as a team, and that ruined us in general, I thought. And obviously it was just for a good cause, and obviously it was a jersey that was supposed to promote, or help people, inclusion, whatever. And yeah, it's just supposed to be something for, good for those sort of people that need it. But obviously it sort of made a twist, and a twist the wrong way, and obviously it upset a couple of players. And as we know, the 7 Manly players that did stand out from playing that week against the Roosters at Four Pines Park on Thursday night there, and yeah, it was just drama from there on onwards. Yeah, look, I don't want to sound too controversial, and I don't want to sound like I have mucked up here when I do talk about this sort of topic, because it's a very fragile topic. It's something that I need to be careful when I do talk about it. I don't want to tread on anything wrong here, but I'll do my best. So basically, just how did Manly back up, and how did Manly reunite and go again this season, and into the next season, I should say, into 2023, and forget all this drama from last year, when it will be the 2023, and looking at the 2022, when it will be last year, after all this jersey drama. So there's no doubt there was a split amongst the team at one point. There was no doubt there was a split. There's no doubt that players were angry at each other, mad at each other, and even, don't want to speak to that person anymore. And now that's all been sorted, That's all been sorted, All the boys are happy. They're all good. And they did have that talk that day together in the lead up to the Roosters game, that they did like talk it out, talk about their religion, the players that did stand down, and talk about their reasonings why they don't want to play for the Manly club in that jersey. So, look, it's fair enough, I believe. Again, we're all out in our beliefs, and we're all allowed to have a say and a right in terms of just what you believe in and what you think is right for yourself and your religion. So, look, it's fair enough at the end of the day, and I don't blame the 7 boys that did stand out for wearing the Pride jersey. It's completely up to them. It's completely up to them and their religion, just depending on how they do it. So look, all I'll say is I respect their call, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad they're happy. I'm just glad and happy that they're Manly boys at the end of the day. I'm still glad they're part of our club. They're still repping the team every week in the maroon and white, and that's what matters. I'm just glad that none of the 7 decided to walk out and leave the club over this whole jersey drama. So I'm just glad that the boys did stick together at the end of the day. But it's not nice how there's always been, these fake rumours and fake talk out in the media saying that the team's not happy. Jake and DC don't like each other. This player doesn't like that player. There's a real rumble in that sort of Manly sort of club. Bullshit. It's all been sorted. The boys have even come out and said that they've all talked about, this whole situation together, and they've moved past it. I don't like how F-wits like Buzz Rothfield, Paul Kent, all those sort of shit journalists that think they're top notch but they're not, and they just want to report bullshit, and that, of course, a bold tweet, James Hooper, one of the worst of them all, reporting all this fake bullshit, being fucking stupid in terms of what they've been reporting and saying. So, and it's not nice, especially when there's just fake rumours and lies, and obviously causes confusion amongst the team and all that. But at the end of the day, the Manly club and the boys know where the truth is, and what's wrong, what's right, and who's lying and who's telling the truth. So at the end of the day, it's all good, because they're all good teammates from what I see. They're all happy to be around each other. That proved it the time they had that end of season awards a couple of weeks ago, and they're all together high-fiving in a group together, taking a photo, etc. So they're all good. They've moved past the drama, and there's nothing you need to add more to it. So I think they're ready to reunite for a big season in 2023. I think they all, trust each other, their heart's in the job, and they're all willing to play for each other and play for this club to see some success come eventually. So, yeah, I think that's where you need to leave it at now. It's moved past the whole jersey thing. But to add to this, Scott Penn is what I want to talk about as well. Scott Penn, the owner. So basically, he sort of backed the Pride jersey, and he backed it without sort of telling anyone, or actually, it was the Manly management that came up with the idea of making a jersey, and Scott Penn did not notify anyone about it. So I'm guessing they didn't notify Des about it, didn't notify the players about it, and they didn't talk about it around the club at all, apart from the management and Scott Penn. They were the only two sort of people that knew. Gary Wallman was part of the management. I believe it was mainly his idea to make the Pride jersey, and Scott Penn obviously approved it, which is fine, or you can approve it, but you got to tell the players, and you got to sort of notify the coach as well, because like I just don't understand guys like Scott Penn and man management would have thought that this was a good idea to sort of release a jersey without anyone sort of knowing or having an indication this was the jersey that was coming out for this week, coming forward. And obviously, yeah, it upset a lot of players, and that's one of the last things you probably want to happen amongst the team. So better they sort of said something before releasing the jersey, So very poor by the Manly management there. And I'm so glad that day when Des was talking about coming out with DC and talking about how they're sorry about the boycott, and how they're sorry about how this was a bad idea in the first place, and how it was managed, the whole jersey thing. And eventually they still wore it, of course, they had to. But, obviously, yeah, it didn't go down. It didn't go down too well, did it? And I'm just glad at that day Des, the coach, did take over the Manly management. Now, I hope that doesn't cost Des his job, and I don't think it will. At the time, there was obviously talk that it could, but I don't think it will now. But I'm just glad when Des was speaking in an interview after the jersey thing that he did mention the Manly management and how they handled this all so poorly, and how they could have done a better job doing this as well. So I'm just glad that Des did call it the Manly management there. And yeah, that's described by Des. And you know what? It says a lot about Des as well. It says a lot about Des that he came in front of the media, in front of all these people, in front of all the cameras, in front of all the journalists and all that about the whole jersey thing. Him, DC. So him and DC deserve a round of applause for that. Fronting the media and talking like that. And it just goes to show that if Scott Penn's heart's in the job, it just shows that Scott Penn isn't 100% committed. Not that I think so anyway, but I could be wrong in saying that. But I do think Scott Penn should have made more of an effort to get down to Sydney in time and sort of speak to the media himself about the whole jersey thing, because he would have known that there was no CEO at the time. I mean, Tony Mestrov wasn't even appointed, or he was appointed, but he wasn't supposed to start in that week when the jersey thing came out. And I feel like Scott Penn, who had the main idea and had the main sort of thoughts to this whole jersey thing, should have come down. And when the drama started happening, he should have just came down straight away and discussed it, and been there with Des and DCE, So it's very disappointing that to know that our chairman, our own owner, couldn't take any ownership for the mistake, whereas the coach and the captain did. So it says a lot about Scott Penn does it. But again, will Scott Penn stay? I think he will, but yeah, look, I'm not too confident on Fortune Penn, but we'll see anyway. Hopefully, they're all professionals at the end of the day. They're all professionals. They know what they're doing. They know how to work around a club and build a successful franchise. So again, yeah, look, that's not me. That's not for me to judge, but that's what I just have my opinion on anyway. But I think the boys are ready for a big 2023 season, and they'll forget all about this jersey thing in the end. Now, we're at the end of the review, and it's come to the last segment of the review, and yeah, this is just basically what I think the club needs to achieve and do in order for a successful Passmark 2023 season. So, look, obviously there's little I can do about the next year, and little that I can have an input on and making our team better, because obviously I don't work at Manly, and obviously it's a job to, obviously the dream of a job to have it, to work at Manly, but I don't know if I can qualify just yet, but definitely getting to a stage where I probably would need a consistent job. So hopefully one day my dream of working for Manly comes true in some capacity. But yeah, no, look, this is a bit of a conclusion to the review by saying that, I hope this is a season to forget, and hopefully it's a season that, we can look back on and go, we don't want to be in this position again. We don't want to be in this sort of state again, another year like this. We want to improve. We want to see our team go and make a grand final in the near future, make the finals more consistently, make ourselves a bit of a scarier opponent to other sides that play us, you know. We need to bring back that DNA, that Manly DNA, and that mentality that we used to always have, that back to the wall mentality, you know. Because I don't think many people are going to rate us heading into next year. I think a lot of people are going to have us outside the top 8 in 2023. That's what I feel like anyway. But whenever there's a bit of backlash, whenever there's a bit of doubt around our team, when no one rates us, everyone thinks that we're not going to do anything special, I'm not going to achieve much. You know, that back to the wall mentality always comes up and stands up at the end of the day. And there's no better team that goes through that and goes through the underdog sort of phase than we do. We always handle it pretty well. We always come up and do our job, and we do a fantastic job as well. And we go to so many places and really good places as well. When we have our backs to the wall and we play unexpectedly so well and perform as a team amazingly. So I feel like that's the case for next year, that our backs are to the wall. No one's going to rate us coming into 2023. Everyone's probably going to say, oh, Tom's going to get injured again. Manly won't make the 8. Oh, Manly have lost 4 in their best player from last year in 2022. They're going to struggle, you know, this time around. Manly are too inconsistent. Don't have the team. They're not going to do anything. Not going to do crap. They're going to do F4. And I feel like that's what people are going to say about us. But I feel like our backs to the wall mentality and the way that we do handle adversity and pressure, it's always usually very, very, very good. And I feel like that's going to take place in 2023. I feel like we're going to prove a lot of doubters wrong, hopefully. Now, look, you're a very brave person. And you're you're obviously very kind and obviously done a good job for sitting here for this whole 30-minute review. And if you have sat here for this whole 30-minute review, I really do appreciate you, because I didn't expect anyone to really do it, apart from maybe yourself or that's watching right now, or anyone that's been watching the 30-minute review. So, you know, everyone, thanks for watching the Manly 2022 review. It really means a lot for me as a young 16-year-old kid that loves the club and wants to see the club improve. And that's the aim at the end of the day, you know. I don't really have much ambition to play the game, obviously. But, you know, I've played before, I've loved playing, and it's going to take a lot for me to convince me to play. But if anything, I love to talk about the team. I love to get involved around the club at some capacity in the future and help as much as I can, because that's obviously an aim for me. And but, you know, look, we'll see. I can't guarantee anything just yet, but we'll have to wait and see what the future holds if I do get some sort of role at Manly, because I'd love to one day, hopefully. But this is the best I could do. Talk about our season, how tough it was, and talk about some of the positives as well. So again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, enjoy the review, everyone.